When I tell you, it truly has been one of them days that a girl goes through. It's been that. I'm not even kidding you. Anyway, hi, welcome to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And today we're going to continue off with our series, the Get Fit With Me Yoga Edition. The only difference is with this, we're actually going to try a different yoga YouTuber. And I don't know if she's necessarily a yoga YouTuber or more of a women's health YouTuber who happens to also be a yogi. And let me give you the name of the channel, Live Fertile. And I found this video, it's a 15-minute video on menstrual poses for, things that all of us women naturally go through, for the most part. Biological women naturally go through. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's all inclusive. You don't have to have that happening to do that. But because I alluded at the very beginning of the video, it is one of those days for me. I'm going to try this out. I will get back to the other thing I have going on, which is the Yoga with Adriene series. But what actually stemmed this was I was just looking for more options on, yoga for when, things are happening. And I stumbled upon this person who has a channel dedicated to women's health, but like yoga inspired women's health things. So, and she's also melanin. So I want to give her a go. And based upon this, and once I'm done with that series with Yoga with Adriene, yeah, you're going to have to sweep after all the names I keep dropping here. I think I am going to start this new thing where I check out different yoga YouTubers and try out their routines, and then kind of, you guys can check it out, see if you like it or not, and I can actually give my feedback on it as well. So essentially, this is going to be kind of a yoga review. Interesting, right? Okay, so we're going to give it a go with her. And also, I will put both the person who always usually routines I do in the description, as well as this person in the description, so you can check out some of her videos as well. And again, I still firmly believe it's going to be all-inclusive, so I don't think you really have to be a biological woman. You can be just a man, woman, child, she, he, we, they, all-inclusive over here. At least this channel is all-inclusive over here. Anyway, I hope you enjoy, and we're going to get right to it. So with this yoga routine, we start off standing and just kind of moving around a little bit, just like stretching our arms above head and just circling them, things of that nature. Once we get moving, we're going to do this on both sides, but we put one of our feet back and almost to like a lunge, but not quite, because really we're transitioning into Warrior One. In between the Warrior One pose, we go from that to kind of a triangle pose with like a steeple arm. We're going to be kind of doing that as well. The way we are switching sides in between, we're going to be doing a wide-legged standing pose in between, and that's how we're transitioning between the two. I forgot to add, every time we do kind of like that triangle pose, we are trying to also incorporate a slight back bend each time. After we do the warrior one on both sides with the wide angle standing pose in between, we are now going back to kind of a high lunge, but with the arms around our back, kind of doing like a stretch and opening like the chest. From there, we are transitioning over to a humble warrior pose. We are going to be doing this, of course, on both sides. Once we have completed the humble warrior pose on both sides, we then are in a wide-legged standing pose, and then from there we're going to heel toe until we are standing in a mountain pose. We're going to be standing about hip width apart, or a little bit more than that, to do basically a goddess squat, or just a variation of a goddess squat, or even like a frog pose, whichever way you address it, or whichever way works for you. That's what we end up doing. From the squat, we are going to transition now to a seated position on the mat. We are briefly going to be in cobbler's pose, and from cobbler's pose, then we are going to transition. We're going to do this on both sides again, where it is hand to knee pose. Oh, I meant head to knee pose. One thing with this instructor, she did do the head to knee pose kind of with a twist. We didn't go right to that. She had us do variations of twists and then variations of stretches, and with your legs still being in the position for the head to knee pose. But so we were on the floor kind of in this type of position for a while as a result of that. From the finishing up the head to toe, head to knee pose, we are now doing a wide-legged seated forward bend, kind of a variation of that. I will be fully transparent. I'm clearly not very flexible when it comes to that. So and I'm sure others are like this as well. Just do the best you can. Once you have completed doing the stretching from that pose, the wide-legged seated pose, we're going to go back to the cobbler pose. Within the cobbler pose, we are going to do a forward bend, really just stretching out all the organs, internal organs, and getting all that moving. It really does make things feel better when you do a lot of these forward bends during that kind of time. Once we complete doing the cobbler pose. We are going to now transition to laying on our back. And you may not have noticed, but I do actually have a pillow there. And you can kind of use a pillow how you see fit, I believe. And I'm going to use it kind of as like a bolster for my back. Once you're situated, we are then now going to transition to a lying down cobbler pose. So that also will help with another back bend basically. So yeah. Once we've completed staying in that lying down cobbler pose, we are now removing the pillow as a bolster and going back to laying down, but with your feet on the ground with your knees bent. I should also mention that the knees are going to be touching with your feet positioned at the end of the mat on each side. Now we are transitioning over to a corpse pose or Shavasana, and we are getting to the point where we're winding down in our practice. From the corpse pose, we are going to now slowly regain awareness of the body and choose either side to slowly get back up where you are seated and briefly in the fetal position in between before you do transition over to a seated pose. And now we're in the cross-legged position. We're going to put our prayer hands together. Namaste. So that concludes the newer routine I've done. And let me give a full review on this because it was something different. I haven't tried her stuff out before. And one thing I did highly appreciate is, and maybe this is just me, and I think it works for whoever it is, I might also have a serious bias because, you know, it just is what it is. But I just loved her look of her video. The video I was looking at was about 3 years old. So like, I could tell because I actually checked out the rest. I hadn't looked at her videos in depth, but I kind of was scrolling through the rest of like how her content looks on her channel. And definitely she's upgraded since the 3 years ago when it comes to the camera views and whatnot. Just like I'm hoping I do the same thing with my channel. But besides that, she has a very soothing voice. Her instructions are pretty clear. She's very, I don't know, I liked her voice. I really like her voice. And those who have done yoga before, and even those who are newer to the practice who maybe have never done yoga before, it might be me just being kind of nitpicky, and I kind of am that way because I am someone who does yoga who's naturally a very high-strung person. If your voice is not soothing and gets me in the mode of wanting to do yoga, it's probably my first and only class I will do with you. I've had situations where I had someone who was teaching yoga, but in my heart of hearts, I'm like, oh no, they're a group fitness instructor, but they happen to do yoga too. If you know, you know. It takes a certain chillness that you need to project out to do yoga. Even with intense yoga, you kind of want to hear somewhat of a soothing voice so that you stay present and you stay in your zone. Because if you're not present doing yoga, it does make it a lot more challenging. There's that, but it makes it kind of where it could be dangerous because you're not breathing properly. You may not be doing the poses properly because you're not really engaged. Because I'm a firm believer for the practice of yoga, which is why it's even called a practice. You're practicing being present. You're practicing being here at the moment, and also really focusing on your movements and how you're doing your movements, and breathing and how you're doing the breathing and whatnot. Anyway, I know I'm digressing big time, but anyway, what I was going to say with her, because I digressed, I went way off subject, but I did appreciate that. I appreciate that she kind of did some things that were different from the previous video I did. So it felt a little bit more like I was doing yoga, like regular kind of like vinyasa-ish yoga, because there's some warrior one sprinkled in there, and I love my warriors. Like I like warrior one, warrior two, warrior three poses. Those are like my favorite poses. I like kind of like your stereotypical yoga poses, and if there's no pose, it kind of makes it, I don't know, that's just me though. But anyway, so I did appreciate that, and I appreciate that we didn't end laying down. So many of the videos I've been doing lately, you're ending laying down, and I like it where because if you go to a yoga class, you don't normally end laying down unless you're doing like a recovery yoga or restorative yoga. For regular kind of like beginner yoga, or even like vinyasa yoga, or like hot yoga, usually end either sitting up or standing up. You don't really end just laying down, because I don't know, I like the experience of in the video or in yoga, you get me out of the shavasana. Because if I end in shavasana / corpse pose, I want to take a nap now. Like instinctually I want to. I'm not going to, because I've been doing yoga long enough where it doesn't really have as much of an effect on me. But I imagine if this was like me starting off, I would just want to go to bed now. But yeah, so I like her video. I do notice that like a lot of her stuff is very much catered to like fertility, which, that's kind of cool. It's actually different. It's something I've never seen before. But because it's catered towards that, I kind of appreciate it, because that also means it's going to be catered heavily towards women's health, which most exercises, unfortunately, you don't hear enough about that. I would love for that to change, and hopefully it does. But yeah, anyway. So overall, I would say I liked her routine. I would definitely check her out. I'll put her link in the description, and see what you like, see what you don't. I mean, if you don't love her, that's on you. I personally liked her, and also too, I love that she had a helmet of salvation on while she was doing it, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do that instead of like my hair just not done yet, because I haven't left the house yet. This is me getting the day started. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the content, and please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you don't do anything else, and definitely comment. Please start commenting. I noticing that I am getting likes now, but I would love a comment, feedback, and yeah, and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell whoever about the channel so they can like go onto it. And yeah, anyway, I will see you next time, and hopefully I'll be back on the series by then. Today was just, I'm not going to sing the Monica song again, but that's what I think every time. And I know everyone, yes, when you know, you know. But anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.